So a couple of tips for you about how to keep your savings intact. If we're going to work with our savings accounts and all these different bank accounts, maybe some good behaviors that we can get involved in with our bank accounts. Number one, why don't we try not to mix your funds when it comes to um, keeping your daily expenses in maybe one area versus some of your big savings projects you're trying to work on, maybe in a different account. So maybe for me, I'm going to keep enough money in my checking account to be able to take care of a lot of my daily bills, my regular expenses, a place where I can have money that's very accessible to me to do what I want, versus my major savings for the car, the vacation, the whatever I'm trying to take. Maybe that intentionally goes in a separate account. Something that's a little harder to get to, something that's a little bit more, more restricted. Right. Again, another reason maybe to have multiple accounts. Number two, get in the habit of regularly transferring money out of your checking account into a savings account or another type of account. I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. You can do that manually, or you can set it up to automatically transfer on a certain time during the month, which is fantastic. If you are someone who burns through money, if you have it in your pocket and you're going to spend it, perhaps a CD is going to be something that's going to work for you. Some of you pointed out that some of the savings accounts that are out there are, I'll say, more restricted savings accounts. I've seen accounts that are marked as like vacation fund savings accounts where you really can only take that money out once. You could put money in, but you can only ever withdraw money out once. So this is only for one purpose, and I'm going to keep putting money away into this account until I have enough to pay for my vacation, and then I can take it out once, or they'll have a time frame you set. I promise I'm not going to take it out before July or whatever it is. Fourth, if you're following along, is to save automatically. I'm a big fan of this because I'm never going to remember to be able to do this on my own. So you can set up with your bank to automatically transfer money out of your account every single month, or multiple times a month, or on a certain day during the month. And I would recommend that when you get a real full-time job, that if your company offers direct deposit of your paychecks, you should absolutely sign up for that. It's an easy form you fill out with your employer, and they can automatically drop your paycheck into your bank account twice a month, or however often you get paid, once a week, or whatever it is. So it's called direct deposit, and at this point, your employer will totally tell you about that when you start a job. So this is actually an old screenshot of what my bank account used to look like, and this is how I could actually set up a transfer. So here, how much money would you like to transfer? Transfer from one account to another, maybe from my checking account to my savings account. Maybe my paycheck gets directly deposited into my checking account, and then I automatically want to take $400 every paycheck and put it away in my savings account. So transfer from my checking account to my savings account. How frequently would you like me to do this? A one-time transfer? Do you want me to do it weekly on a Tuesday? Do you want to do it monthly on the second of the month? Twice monthly? What have you? Send me an email when you actually make the transfer. So you can set this up, and then you don't have to think about it anymore. If you, let's say, get paid on the 1st and the 15th of the month, maybe I would suggest that you transfer money maybe on the 3rd and the 19th of the month, or the 3rd or the 18th of the month. So you automatically do savings. This is another account that I had. I think this window has changed, but this is another one, an account I had with ING. Same deal. I want to transfer. This is like a money market account. I want to transfer from my bank account, and then how frequently would you like to do it? So look at your online banking, look at your e-banking options, and see if you can set that up. It's really simple, and then you don't have to worry about it. You're always saving. We talked a little bit about in the previous assignment about fees. Banks are notorious for having fees for everything, especially on checking accounts, quite honestly. And some of these fees have gone up since the last time I updated this slide. Lots of money you could be dropping and giving to your bank on fees if you're not paying attention. So maybe some thoughts on how you can beat some of these fees so that you're not giving your money to the bank unnecessarily. Number one, sometimes if you sign up for direct deposit, the bank will give you free checking. So they take a lot of the fees off. There's no monthly maintenance fee. There's no minimum balance, what it required if you sign up for direct deposit. So check with your bank to see if that's an option. Secondly, I like to buy cheap checks. I don't know if some of your parents have this, but your parents might have fancy, crazy checks like this versus the plain old blue checks that come from the bank. Folks, it's a check. A lot of people barely use checks at this point. In order to get the fancy, cute check that has your favorite sports team on it or a picture of your dog, you pay extra for that. I don't really care what my checks look like. I have the basic, very fancy blue checks that the bank issues. What does it really matter? It's just a check. Why pay the bank extra for it? Unless you're crazy about your cat, then go nuts. But I'd rather not give the money to the bank. Some of you talked about this in your other project, and I wanted to mention it here, something called overdraft protection. What do we mean by this? In order for you to write a check out of your checking account or to use your debit card to take money out of your checking account electronically, the money has to be in your checking account when the transaction happens. There is no such thing as borrowing money against your bank account. So for example, if I write a check for $100 and give it to you for your birthday, happy birthday, and you go to cash that check, you go to get money for that check, and I don't have $100 in my account, the bank is going to come back and say, yep, this check is not good. The check will say the check won't clear. Your bank comes to my bank and asks, hey, you said you'd give us $100. Give me $100, please. And if there isn't money there, the check, we say, bounces. It cannot be cashed. And usually what happens, if you're in that scenario, the bank's going to charge you a fee. And sometimes it's upwards of $30. I think on the last screen it was like $35 if you bounce a check, which is insanity. It's $35 every time you bounce a check. Not great. And if you're in the habit of not knowing how much money is in your checking account and you regularly bounce checks, $35 a shot is coming out of your bank account. So what can you do? You can get this idea called overdraft. If at any point you run out of money in your checking account and now you try to draw another check on your account, the bank will come in and say, this check would have bounced. Let's say you write a $100 check, you only have $50 in your account. The bank will loan you the money to cover the balance. So the bank will kick in another $50 to make that check clear. And then the bank will basically put your account on hold and charge you a nominal fee until you pay back the money. Usually the fee that they charge, maybe $5, is significantly less than the amount of money it would cost you to bounce a check. So if your bank has the ability to put on overdraft, I would recommend doing that. It's a good idea and it's a good safety net to have. Right? So this is called overdraft protection. It's this just extra insurance that's going to come in that if you don't have enough money in your account, the bank will actually just kick in the amount to cover the difference so that that check you wrote goes through, and then you have to pay the bank back and put more money in the account. Okay, this is called overdraft protection. It's a really, really awesome thing you should look for in your bank. Not all checking accounts come with overdraft, so you want to ask for that and make sure that it's turned on for your account. This is a really neat trick. If you have a debit card and you are trying to get money, oftentimes if you try to go to an ATM, the banks will provide ATM service to its members. So if I'm a Chase customer, I can go to any Chase bank in the country and I can use their ATMs for free because I'm a Chase customer. If I'm not a Chase customer, they will charge you a fee for using their ATM. And in these days, I think it's upwards of $3, $3.50 every time you go to the ATM, right? So if you find yourself in a place often where you can't get to your bank, imagine every time you go to an ATM to get cash, you have to fork over $3, $4 here and there. After a while, that starts to add up. So one of the neat tricks you can do actually is if you use your debit card at a register. You're in a store, I'm standing in Walmart and I'm buying some stuff and I'm going to use my debit card anyway. You can right there at the, if you use your debit card right there at the pin pad, you can ask for cash back. And they can give you $20, $40, $60, $80. So you can't take out thousands of dollars, but you can take out a little bit of money. And they basically tack it on to the bill that you were going to spend at Walmart anyway. That withdrawal you make does not have a fee on it. So I've done this before where I'm standing in the store, I look in my wallet, I don't have any money in my wallet because I forgot to go to the ATM. I was going to pay with my debit card anyway, so I'll actually swipe, pay for my purchase with my debit card, and at the same time ask for some cash back, and maybe that will tide me over until I can get to an ATM and take out more. But you can do that without paying a fee. So neat little trick there. The other trick here is if you can look for ATMs from your bank or that are in like a network if you're in something like that. Number 5, sometimes if you're an investor in the bank, if you own shares in the bank, sometimes they offer you all sorts of perks where you don't pay fees because you've invested in the bank. And some banks, depending on the account you have, sometimes if you limit the amount of times you actually go into the bank, they will offer you a free or fee-free checking account or something like that. Some of them will do it if you agree to do all your banking at the ATM. If you promise never to go to a teller, well then we'll waive the fees for you. If you limit yourself to fewer transactions a month, maybe they can reduce some of the fees for you. Right. So again, take a look at your bank to see if they offer something like that. Number 7, I would say link your accounts. It is really, really cool that you can go online to your bank and even on your app. Some of your phones now you can do right there on the phone. I can move money between my accounts very easily. If I see that I don't have enough money in my checking account, I don't have to go to a bank to do it. I can do it right there in the app. And the transfer is pretty instantaneous at that point because it's all electronic. So you can move money between your accounts. In most cases, all you have to do is just link the accounts together at the bank, and then you can move money back and forth. Okay. And number 8, look for free ATMs. Like I said, if you go inside of your own bank, if you try to go to your bank, you can use your ATMs for free. Or sometimes you start to look around, hunt around, and you can find, even if I don't have my bank in an area, I can find cheaper ATMs. Instead of paying $3, I'll pay $1. For instance, right near school, the Dunkin' Donuts that's on the corner of Bedford and U. For a long time there, they had an ATM in there, and I think the ATM fee there was like 99 cents. If I went across the street to the Chase Bank that's on the corner there, I think the fees were like $3. So occasionally when I found myself not being able to go to my own bank, I said, let me go to Dunkin' Donuts, I'll get myself a coffee, and I'll hit the ATM there because the ATM fee is relatively small. I don't know what their fees are up to now, but you kind of start to learn where the ATMs are. So you can save yourself some money that way.